Today, on the $1 Million Mind.
Definitely always buying a dip. This is stocks.
Yeah, no,
this is
absolutely.
trading, crypto. It's a way for you to come up. It's a way for you to understand new technology, new business on a different level, because cryptos are all about what? The infrastructure that altcoin actually holds.
Would you make your services available via purchase of crypto? Like, meaning, if someone wanted to buy a consultation from you,
could they pay me in crypto?
Could they pay you in? Could they pay you in Bitcoin?
They could definitely pay me in Bitcoin.
Do you think investing is only for the big players?
Every cup of coffee, every takeout order, every Amazon order could be the gateway to your next financial empire.
Today, we dive into the world of micro investing, where AI investors, AI advisors, and Pi are breaking Americans free from the rat race every single day. Stick around on the $1 Million Mind.
Every cup of coffee, every takeout order, every Amazon order could be your next seed to your financial empire.
What's going on, millionaires? It's your guy Kai Speaks, back for another episode of the $1 Million Mind podcast. Here are my co-hosts, Heavy House Jazz.
Hey.
You know,
how you feeling, Kai?
I'm feeling green today.
Ooh.
I'm feeling green. Like, you know, I know people used to say like green mean envious, but I never thought green meant envious. I always meant green mean go.
Yeah.
Green means let's get it. Let's get to a bag. Green means, you know, new beginnings.
It means go.
I mean, life.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a whole lot freedom
of
to rise.
Yeah. And so today we're gonna be having a very green conversation.
Yes.
And this conversation for me is sparked with a conversation I had with a loved one that it disappointed me a little bit because, you know, from our last conversation we had on the show about, you know, the DEI and all that other stuff. And, you know, just how we are constantly emotionally baited into how we should make decisions and stuff, or the lack of a decision. And how we just kind of sit around and wait for things to change and they never change and stuff like that. And that was kind of the theme of the conversation that I was having. And I was trying to put on, you know, one of my loved ones about like some investment strategies that they could take a part of, you know, knowing that they didn't really have too much. I'm like, hey, you ain't even gotta have too much. You know, I got some plays that you can make where you can like start to build up your portfolio, get a little bit of some, pull some out, you know, use it for, you know, some good things, maybe even, you know, try to 10x it, you know, whatever you need to do. But you can start here. And it was just kind of like, how did we get to because I was talking about that Trump coin, you know, that viral Trump coin that went crazy.
Got money off that.
And they was talking about, oh no, Trump, you know, he did that. It was a cash grab for him. And I'm like, it could have been, but it was a cash grab for a lot of other people too.
Raising moment.
Yeah. And so, you know, we was talking about that, and then we just got into like how all these people just take advantage of us. And it was like, this may be true, but what are we gonna do?
Right.
Are we gonna keep letting them take advantage? If we know they're taking advantage, let's play the advantage.
Game. And you're on it.
And so we was having this conversation. So it was just really disheartening. And that's what sparked my want to have this conversation with you. And so we're going to kick things off with another hot take debate, you know, and this hot take debate is, you know, stocks versus cryptos. And more specifically, what I want to paint a clear picture for the listeners, Jazz, is when we're talking about stocks versus cryptos, we're going to talk about pros and cons, risk factors, and all that other benefits and stuff like that. But if you're just now getting started, because we're not talking about the average investor, we're talking about people who are just now getting started in a realm that they may not be super familiar with. They have like a few $100s, maybe if that, to invest, and they're looking to grow their portfolio. Where should they put their focus? Crypto versus stocks, safest for newcomers. Let's get to the debate. So like, what's your take on, first of all, what's your take on your stock investments versus your crypto investments?
My stock investments are my foundation. It's something that's tried and true. They're companies that have been around for a long time. Or it's just like a blockchain, like it's here. It's here. Like, right. Once it's here, it's here. And we've adopted it, right? Bigger companies have bought into it. So stocks to me are like, hey, that's your foundation. That's your understanding of like billionaires. Okay. Accept it. crypto. It's a way for you to like come up. It's a way for you to understand new technology, new business on a different level, because cryptos are all about what the infrastructure that altcoin actually holds. To say that business is actually profitable and valuable business, right? So, I mean, I think that they have the same. It's just a little bit more risky with cryptos because it's still newer, right? It's just still a new name. It's almost like the same concept somewhat, but it's just a new name for it, right? And so you have to still study that perspective, still study that the actual like how do you say it? Like you still have to study the
market, the trends.
Yeah, the business as a whole. Like what's backing that business? What's backing that altcoin? So I just think the safest is definitely going to be stocks. Stocks can still give you blue chip stocks and give you dividends. And if you're, don't want to be on such a risky side, like you have the option to do that with stocks going into like Disney, right? That's going to pay you a dividend, or like ESPN, which they all own the same. So whichever one you believe in, but you're still going to get a dividend.
And stocks are also a little bit more diverse too, because it's, you can buy stocks in all different types of industries. You want to invest in the beauty industry. You want to invest into, the financial sector. You want to invest into tech. You want to invite in whatever.
And crypto's like that too.
Yeah. Yes. But it's also it's a little bit different though, because it's not as safe of a diversification.
Correct.
It's like nowadays what you have is there are still, it's mostly like crypto is diverse-ish, but it's still mostly tech. So, and tech is a big industry. Don't get me wrong.
This I agree with. I agree with that. Like, hey, it's a sector of tech, but it still can be a sector of tech that works within those other companies.
Yes, you're right.
The thing that you need to understand is that when everybody finds out about something, they have to change the narrative, and then a lot of times we're the ones that change the narrative. So, right, we created this, like I said, privatized, right? This privatized thing of like, hey, you guys want your money faster, just like. Now, Trump has a goal to what? Back the Federal Reserves with Bitcoin in hope that we'll get out of debt and feed that Bitcoin to China. To get out of tariffs and debt law with them. But I mean, it's all really the same thing. It's just kind of fogging you. Because when you think about, like stellar lumens and XRP, like what is XRP? What is the actual infrastructure of XRP and why it's really good?
Why is it? Because I mean...
Because it allows you to get your money faster. It's basically creating a fund. They're the new bank. They decentralized the damn bank.
That shit ain't doing too well right now.
It's not right now because it's emotionally driven. But don't sleep on it, baby. You got to understand where everybody's already invested. It was just like Bitcoin. Everybody was already invested. But you didn't see it because you don't even know who's bought into it. BlackRock's bought into it. Do you know what BlackRock is? Quit playing a game here. Stop.
Well, tell them what BlackRock is.
I'm just...
Tell me
what BlackRock is. You guys need to research it.
All right, because look, I bought into XRP mainly because of your recommendation.
And I said that, and I don't tell you because I want you to actually go and look. You would behoove yourself too, so I'm not going to give it to you. I'm not.
So... I
hold you accountable.
All right, so is it time... Because I bought about 50 XRP units, and that was when it was at like $3.12. Now it's like at $2.80.
Buy some more.
So you saying buy some more? Definitely,
always buying a dip. This is stocks.
Yeah, no,
this is
absolutely.
Trading, and it's high, and this is the same habit. What did you say?
Do you think it's dropping? Do you think it's going to drop any more though? Is what I'm thinking.
Even if it does, I already believe in. I already know who's bought into it. I'm riding with the billionaires, baby. I'm not playing a game. Come on. The thing is, this is like, you can get emotional about it, or you can accept what is. You're either going to roll with them and get out with them, or you're not. It's just like when Warren Buffett just sold all of his stocks, and then he went on to the next thing. Like, are you paying attention? We are, and we're just trying to make sure that you are.
So nowadays with crypto, you're starting to have a lot of different cryptocurrencies pop out of there. At first it was just Bitcoin and Ethereum that people knew about.
You got a lot of startup companies.
Yeah, then it was the Dogecoin, and then you got Ethereum, and then you had the T one. I forget what that one was called. It's kind of like out of there now.
Yeah.
But now you got Salana, and you got XRP now, and you got all these different coins. When it comes to, because I guess that's also a way that you get the diversification in crypto. But now, where does your research start as far as the backing? Because not everybody looks at Bitcoin now as a possibility for them to see gains because of just how expensive it is.
It's crazy. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention. Bitcoin has been going down from to 90,000 up to 100,000 and 104,000 in the last 2 weeks. You could have made so much money there on the dip and the rise, on the dip and the rise. That's the thing about stocks and diversified portfolios. You either going to play the long-term moderate game, or you're going to be in there option day trading.
Can you do options with cryptos?
I can't quote you on that.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that because I
Not
don't even put a lot of
way
my money into crypto, but I do put my money into crypto. But I'm safe with that one because it is just a little bit like I'm still studying. I'm still studying. But like, I mean, people used to always do pips and currencies and stuff like that. So yeah,
like maybe not in a traditional way, but if you see Bitcoin at 90,000,
in a sense, in a sense, when you think about day trading, yes, you can, because if you're willing to sit there and put your alert on that, hey, it's at 93. When it gets to 90, whatever, when it gets to 95, I'm gonna put $1,000 in right now. But I've been watching the trend all day. You get it? So it may not have an option on it, but it's such a
you can still kind of create your own situation.
It's a $2 stock. Like it's a $2 value.
Bitcoin?
No. Meaning like to buy. Maybe Bitcoin's not gonna be a coin because you can't afford that one.
That's what I'm saying.
But you can do it on a micro level. You can do it on a micro level, and you can still put your $5 in, and even on your micro level, it's still gonna go to. If it's at 93,000, you just still have your little shares, and it's going to 100. Great. You just have to make sure that fee doesn't supersede
and
what you're actually buying in the dip and selling. So
right, and that's why I guess.
And then you got to understand options. It's like a bet on it. It's a different figure.
Right.
So
it may not work for Bitcoin.
Correct.
So now we start looking into these other coins.
I have to look into this.
Like
I'll have
Salana.
to come back with that info.
Like Salana and XRP. But one thing that I thought was interesting, once you told me about Salana, that's when I started finding out that Salana has other coins that they kind of like
you were telling me this.
Not create, but like they have their own blockchain, and then they put these other coins, the meme coins.
Because blockchain is that's when we knew we were all going to crypto. That's when everybody needs to know it. When Square bought into it, all of that was 18 years ago. That was so, like, you get me? Like, people were beating those warehouses and they were blowing up because of blockchain. Remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah. That's when like AMD, they was talking about AMD, they was talking about NVIDIA. They were $18. They were $13, $12. I have stock plays back then on that when I was in California.
Damn, when
people
the
need
video was
$12. Yeah. But so in regards to stocks, cryptos, diversification and the benefits of diversifying, I think that you should have stocks, and I think that you definitely should have cryptos too.
So you should have both.
Yeah. But ultimately have a foundation of the things that you invest in. Some things are just tried true fact of like, hey, where big companies are going. Some things is like, hey, you're passionate about it, what you believe in, like sports, stuff like that. Just like how I say, hey, if you like sports, invest in ESPN. Ride it. You're going to get dividends no matter what. Right?
Yeah. But I like traveling, but I don't think I would necessarily invest in any airlines right now.
I've invested in airlines. They've done well sometimes. You have to.
Not right now, though.
Not right now. I mean, we get who's dying. We get the government. We get billionaires, and what their motive is. Their motive is to annihilate humans. That's why you had COVID. That's why you have plane crashes, and that's why you had what's his name that just got killed on the bike from a so-called person that was upset.
Talking about the healthcare.
This is all by design, just like the affirmative action lady that died on the American Airlines plane. Come on, and just like all the kids, all the white kids on the American Airlines, they're letting you know everybody can be touched. And you also not gonna get out of their order. Like, so yeah, crypto, stocks, invest. Make sure that you're, that you understand what's happening. Yeah, I'm not investing in airlines right now either. But I am investing in silver, and gold. Yeah. Because if you think that those tariffs aren't going to happen, who's silver? Mexico. Energy. Who's going to be the new solar panels? Who's going to create this? Because we're going to guess what? The government is going to start to fund people that are giving out solar panels. Right? And that are producing these things. Because guess what? We now have to massively create this because we want to get away from all these other tariffs and all these other companies. He wants to be the U.S. the best. I'm just
crazy.
It's U.S. companies.
Regulations. So I do want to speak on like regulations and how there are more regulations when it comes to stocks that may or may not make it like a safer investment with less risk than on the crypto side. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do more or less make regulations make stocks safer than cryptos or less riskier or what?
I just think that regulations definitely are going to make it safer. I mean, I think that it's kind of like primary and secondary market. Okay. They don't have it in the crypto space damn near like that almost. Like, it's like you can just create this thing.
You can just create a coin.
You can just create a coin and then you can put it out there, like, seriously. Whereas, like, you can have angel investors, like, exactly for like SpaceX and like Neuralink right now, like the chips that's being put in your head, right? Which that's still not publicly traded yet. They're still, doing their thing. So those regulations, like, they definitely help to say, like, you already know that a stock is big once it gets on the,
Like once it gets on once it's publicly traded.
Right, once it's publicly traded. Sorry about that. Yeah, but once it's publicly traded. And those regulations allow that. And like, hey, we're here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Whereas crypto, y'all saw having what is it, Dogecoin? Yeah. Dogecoin? Like, it was like, bam, and it was like, what?
Like what happened?
What happened? Where'd our money go? Just like Voyager, Kraken, all that. I mean, if you were in it with cryptocurrency, like, I know y'all got them checks. I got those checks. Meaning, what happened to our money?
Damn.
They even created brokerage accounts for it, right? With Kraken, all of Voyager. That was just a platform. That's just business on top of the new business that's unregulated.
Right.
And then they just took your shit and filed bankruptcy. Like,
yeah, I was about to say it was just people who saw a window.
Yes.
Oh yeah, people trying to get in the crypto game.
It was unregulated. It was an unregulated, thing. I believe that it's definitely getting regulated though.
It is.
Yeah, I mean the Federal Reserves are about to be backed by Bitcoin. The banks have bought into it. They're creating their own. That's the reason why altcoin and RXP. This is allowing the banks. This is the infrastructure. So that's why EXP is.
But all right. So do we want the?
XRP, EXP.
Do you want the centralization of cryptocurrency though?
It's already happening. Then the big boys ain't taking their money out. They ain't letting you. What you talking about? You ain't creating your own funds and mortgages and that's how they make the majority of their money. That's why they bought into it. So now they buying in the XRP.
I don't mind them like buying into it, but
or coins. Let's talk about altcoins. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let's not talk about one specific, but like they're buying into the technology of what their banks are going to be able to do. Because if they can't get their money overseas faster, and then but that altcoin is now the fund. You get it. It's the money we've taken our money out of the banks and we're putting it into these places. They money going down.
Yeah, it's just smarter. I mean,
so they're gonna come in Bogart. They taking it back.
I do want to touch on that too. I think that was an important piece to mention is like people taking their money out of the banks and putting them into. Now I won't necessarily say I will take all my money out of the bank and put it into crypto. But I might take a big chunk and put it into stocks
or insurance.
Yeah, or insurance, like a safe stock. Fund. Yeah, a safe stock too, if that. And then maybe take like a fraction of that and put it into some cryptos. Only because like when I mean like a safe stock, like a stock that almost is like guaranteed growth.
A mutual fund.
Yeah.
You know that it's already in another fund, right? Or more, like that's going to actually grow
faster.
you.
It's going to grow faster than the 0.2% that your bank account was going to show.
Correct.
I do believe that we should still have like emergency funds. Where you have
what
cash.
Does your bank do? What does the bank do? It takes your money and they invest your money. Every dollar you put in there, they take that money and then they're gonna go ahead and invest it.
I'm about to say they take all of that money.
I know,
because
that's why
like,
you can't. That's why you got to make an appointment to get your money.
Yeah,
like if you ever sit there and say, "Hey, I want to take $20,000 out today," you got to go make an appointment. They got to see if they got that money.
Yeah, that's why they limit how many if you ever log into your bank and you got like 20 G's in your savings, but they say you got a daily limit on how much you can withdraw, and it's like $5,000, like, because they're not trying to just hand over that cash all at once.
No, that's their business. The bank is a business,
and they started mobile banking. Like, yes, there is a convenience to it, but at the end of the day, that number is just a digital number. You don't have that money in your account. Okay. The account don't really exist. The account is just a number for tracking. All the money is just floating around in the ether. So
with that being said, right, and we see that the banks are actually moving into like, hey, buying into crypto. I mean, what is stability and risk today within, like stocks, crypto?
Damn, this is not even really a part of the hot take debate, Jazz, but I do want to add this to the conversation. Okay. Would you make your services available via purchase of crypto? Like, meaning, if someone wanted to buy a consultation from you,
could they pay me in crypto?
Could they pay you
definitely.
Could they pay you in Bitcoin?
They could definitely pay me in Bitcoin.
So do you have the process or systems that make that easy? I guess now it's like thinking about, is that easy thing to do? Is that easy?
People have done this, so I think that it's researchable, and I think that it's duplicated. You can just literally reduplicate it. The thing is thinking about it. So I think that. And people do it. They sell homes like this.
So people sell their homes with crypto?
Yes. In the metaverse.
Oh, yeah, there.
Too. So.
I thought you was talking like, anyway.
No, this is, yeah. And no, and on Earth. I'm just being quite frank, like they do, and they have.
Yeah.
People have sold their homes in exchange for Bitcoin. You can pay me in Bitcoin. Let's look it up. We're gonna bring some back to the next.
Isn't that how Salana kind of started their blockchain? Was like they started they created their blockchain so that they could accept payments in their own crypto. Like they created their own currency.
Yes.
Right.
This was the form of decentralizing the banks. This was that because they're making a ton of money on us.
Yeah.
All the time. So, and then we can't even get our money out the bank. It's hard for us to liquidate our stuff. Like, okay, we can always use tax codes to put things against, but let's go now we can go to the bank and go get a loan against it. Yeah. Like what we were talking about before, but yeah, so. All right, well, back to you.
Yeah, and you know what that sound means. It's time for us to transition into the $1 million insight. So I do want to have time because there was a lot of keywords that I see that we'll be bringing back up again and things that I want to mention in these $1 million insights. But y'all know the deal. We got 10 topics that me and Jazz about to rapid fire for the next 10 minutes. Y'all see the topics lined up on the screen. Give me the time starting now. You put my timer up as well. And the first topic here is AI advisors. 30 seconds on the board now. So AI advisors, Jazz. I've been seeing, this app called Autopilot. I've been doing a little bit of research. It seemed pretty cool. I haven't put my money into it yet. I still want to do some research. But this is just one of many apps that I'm learning that have like AI software that allow you to invest like politicians, invest like a lot of these big business owners, these big investors. So that way you can make those riskier investments seem a little bit safer, right? Seemingly, right? We don't know how accurate this AI is yet. These things are still testing. But like I said, there's a lot of situations where I will still trust AI more than I would trust some humans.
AI advisors. Right now, I own a bot to be able to tell me when to purchase and when to sell. I think that AI is impeccable. You just have to be able to know when to use it. Like, you're actually the in control of the AI. You're using it. You're just using its talent. So I think AI advisors are great. I think that people are getting better returns, kind of like what you sent me, right? With that ChatGPT portfolio builder. Yeah. Meaning they were doing what? Like 48%, whereas opposed to the S&P was doing like 38%. So it just said, because they have compiled so much information, and AI moves on an exponential level above our brains. I think AI advisors are a good thing. Yeah, it's definitely the future of investing. The next one is meme coin. The meme coin's been popping up. You said bullshit. I like the meme coins, but they are I will say this, they are very volatile. Very. Do not get into it with like any type of guarantee.
And what I do like about it, a lot of them are like penny stocks, right? So like a lot of these cost less than a penny. So you don't need to, put a whole lot of your money into it. Like I said, start off with $50.
Right.
Be okay with losing that $50 because you most likely will, but there's still a chance that you could turn that 50 and turn it into a couple thousand.
Right. I think Memecoins. So I think that, like you said, it's pretty volatile, but it's also a really, really small ticket. So like even like challenging your kids' minds. Right. So as you pay them, you can say like, hey, what do you think? Like, and children are the future. They're the things that like when people like literally like buy into things and like see things, like it's because the youth is buying into all of this stuff half the time. So literally, I think that it's a vehicle that you could say, hey, like, what do you think about this to Taylor, to Johnny at 7 and let them like shoot their shot. You'll see where your kid can take you. Like, seriously. The things that we won't even think about, they're like, hey, look at that. That's the reason why Disney is $1 billion company right now. Like the children, like they usually tell you where we're going.
Yeah. Cryptos to watch. I don't really have an extensive list. Like you put me on to the XRP. I have that constantly on my watch list just because of the activity I've been seeing lately. Like I bought a few units of it. It dropped. I'm not like I'm emotional about it, but I am watching it very closely. I'm like, okay, how much more is it going to drop? I'm starting to look at the daily activity to the monthly activity. Yeah, and the volume is big too. So like that's just the one that I have on my personal watch list. But what about you? What's on your watch list?
I'm trying to true. I don't really like dip too much into crypto, but I try to stick with hey, who's really riding the wave? So like XRP, Stellar Lumens, HBAR, yeah. And then, a couple of my buddies, that sometimes people are starting new things, and I'll put a couple of dollars there just because it's a company, pushing, and I know what they're into. But other than that, just those. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me delete that. Start a new one. Boom. Stocks to watch. I'm gonna let you start that one off.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm a blue chip girl, and I'm also like, hey, the pillars of the world. So like. Healthcare. So I'm definitely like NVIDIA. I'm definitely an AMD girl. I'm definitely a Walmart girl. That's one of the biggest companies in the world. They do great. I'm definitely Tesla, Apple. That's I'll drop that. And that's it. I stick to it.
Yeah, I recently added Toyota to my watch list just because they've been dropping a lot of
Go what?
Like a lot of new models, but also a lot of hybrid and EVs.
So
too.
EV is it. So and that's that. Yes.
And then I was going to add to that. So on top of Toyota, also just looking at an index of like EVs and just in that sector. So like I'm starting to look at a lot more like the charging stations, like the companies that make the charging stations, companies that produce the batteries and stuff like that for them, because eventually they are trying to move us all to the EVs.
When progressive states make laws about your cars that you can't drive, things like that. So yeah, EV, that's definitely one to keep on pushing in.
All right, next one is Roundup strategies. I like the Roundup strategies. So Roundup strategies for me, you got the apps like Acorns. This was the reason why I wanted to include this in micro investing, because this is a great way for people to get started who just don't even have the extra cash to get invested. Like, okay, you spend the money every day though, B. So you can get started with Acorns, something like that, like any type of Roundup strategy app where like when you go get gas, instead of you spent $29.50, okay, round that 50 cents up, put it in your investment portfolio. Go get something to eat, round that 75 cents up, et cetera, et cetera. So I like Roundup strategies. I think that's a good place to start if you don't have $50, $100, $300 to put into like a Robinhood or something like that.
I agree. I think Roundup strategies, I think that you made a great point. I think that for that, elderly person that just wants to actually tap in, make some money, that young person that doesn't have enough money to be able to tap in and still build some wealth and compound out of that. I agree. I've never been like a Roundup strategy kind of girl, just because I've always been able to invest in the things that I like. But even if it was something that I wasn't, like Bitcoin, I can't afford Bitcoin. But I think I did do a Roundup on that. I did invest in it like a micro. So I think that even still doing it on a Roundup strategy, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, and you can do it manually, but you got apps that'll do it for you. stock pie. So like I've been finding apps. The first stock investment app I used was called M1. And this was an app that allowed you to do stock pies, meaning you can create your own pie, essentially like a index fund. You can create your own indexes to where, okay, I like Apple, I like Tesla, and I like Nvidia. They may not be in the same index in the real world, but an app like M1 does allow me to create a custom pie or index of stocks that I personally like and I have like a relationship with that I can invest in. And then I can create like a pie saying like, okay, I want 35% of my investment to go to Tesla. I want another 30% to go to Nvidia. And then I want the rest to go to Apple. And every day it'll make trades for me with that percentage and like based on my profits and put the profits right back in to the pie. So like apps like that's kind of like stock pie.
I'm not very familiar with stock pie. So stock pie, I'm not really too familiar with stock pie. You put me up on game. I think that's something that we could even show some examples on. I would love for you to like, just share it because when I was listening to you in regards to stock pie, like I'm like, that just reminds me of a regular stock pie chart. And I mean, it's almost like it's your own index, period. Yeah. So I just didn't, I kind of like, but I would like to get more in depth on like how it truly works so that I can find the variance.
My first pie got shot though. I put THC index in it.
Oh yeah, those weed accounts. Yeah. I've invested in those. Those don't do well. They're real risky.
Yeah, it's over. I just chalked it up to the game.
I remember that.
Chalked it up to the game. Speaking of risk, we talked about risk. That was one of them. It's just like know what you don't know, and I really didn't know nothing about THC other than that I knew motherfuckers was going to be invested in THC. And I mean, that don't necessarily mean it was a good thing. And it did not do good. But understand that at the end of the day, all these investments are risky because no one truly knows how the market is going to behave. You can't control how the markets behave. So you don't do things like go take your bill money and put it into the stock market. You just don't do stuff like that. That's my 2 cents on risk.
Risk for me. You have to know who you are, like you said. Understand, hey, are you a moderate investor? Are you going to be aggressive investor? Study you first before you start to invest so that you can know where you're going and you actually don't hurt yourself in investing. Understanding your own risk, I think, is it's important. Because then you'll be able to keep investing even if you fail, and you'll just be able to tweak some things, but you won't have such a big fall.
Yeah. That's actually like the perfect segue into the next one, options. Because that's options is kind of more so for the aggressive to moderate investors, because options does allow you to wield profits faster. And
get into stocks that are more expensive at a cheaper price.
Yeah, exactly. That too. So it's just like with the options, that's just me personally. I'm not an options trader because for me, I'm like a set it and forget it type of guy. So I like safe investments. I like just put money in there and I just like checking it every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. I still check most of my stocks every day, but I'm not checking them every day to see if I'm making a decision. The decision was made.
Got it.
The decision was made. I'm just checking it just to check it. That's all
options. I love options. But I definitely think you need to have a strategy. I don't care if it's a candlestick, a high of the day strategy. You need to have a strategy. It's great to get into groups. You know what I mean? But options is a great thing. Like I said, because there could be companies that you truly believe in and you want to actually maximize those returns as opposed to just that micro, trading. And you can buy Tesla at a fraction and say, hey, I bet that it's going to go up in a week. Right. And
I don't know if you saw this post I sent you, Jazz, but on our next topic, don't sell. Yeah, don't sell. I saw a billionaire talk about, and I need this information verified.
We do.
I need the information verified, but they said that a lot of the richest folks they don't ever sell their stocks. They borrow against it. Meaning, if I got $5,000 worth of stock with Apple, I'm going to take that note and I'm going to take it to the bank and I'm going to ask them for a $2,500 loan, or let's say I got $10,000, but I'm asking for a $5,000 loan, and I'm going to use that to borrow against it. And then what happens is, let's say the stock does well. Great. If it does poorly, they just sell, and it's against the stock, not against me. And so I thought that was pretty interesting because it also avoids like with the capital gains tax of you selling that stock to use it for your own personal benefit. That's why I say don't sell.
Don't sell. He's right. So I'm gonna break this down on just a regular level for you. So,
All right.
you know, that typical person that doesn't have any money in their account, but you can go and use that 401k as proof of funds and get a loan against it, right? That's your proof. That's your proof of funds. That's your liquidity. It's the same thing. I just wanted to break it down to where, because so many regular people do that. So think like that, but then be able to go to the banks now and challenge them with other accounts and to get personal loans as opposed to a mortgage loan. You get what I mean? Or a business loan as opposed to a mortgage loan. But yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the last one, the blockchain market. We just talked about it, buying and selling goods on the blockchain, whether that's you creating your own coin, which seems a little bit more technical, or you can find a coin that you value and you see the value in and you okay with being paid through that currency, like a crypto, like Ethereum or whatever. And, you know, just kind of market it on the blockchain. That's kind of what it is. I think that's a huge benefit. And there's some leverage to that market.
I know. Blockchain market. I believe in it. I believe that that's just where we're going. That's the foundation of our currency at this point. We want it instantaneously. They want to be able to control us, know how much money you have.
Yep.
Period. So
that's it.
That's it.
Hey, that's all. That was fun, Jazz. To our listeners, I want y'all to tap in. Tell us what you think about the meme coin sale, what you think about stocks and cryptos. But definitely, most importantly, make sure you like, comment, and share this video if you saw some value. I'm your guy, Kai Speaks. You just heard from my co-host, Heavy House Jazz. We out.
Wait, I got one more thing.
What you got for us, Jazz?
I know that we've talked about all this crypto. We've talked about all these different things. But where can you go to actually, you know, invest and do some things? You know, Moonshot is a great app, okay? And we're offering you $2 cash to your own wallet when you download it and start to invest in different, you know, little
meme coins, cryptocurrencies
and things like that. Saying it's for those younger people or even those older people that do believe in it. So just giving you some resources.
And a lot of them are a little like less than a penny. So $2 goes a long way. Yeah. Cool. All right.
We out.
Appreciate it.